Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a wonderful Tuesday. I am a little upset by the amount of work that people are turning in right now. I know that we are at the end of the year and that we can literally see the finish line, but there are too many of us who need this extra time and cannot be wasting it like we are. At this point, I would like to remind you that if you are currently failing, you need to reach out to Mrs. Sullivan and me because you need to take a final exam, and you can only take the final exam if you are failing. And you might need to consider night school if you would like to have a chance at getting your diploma. If none of this applies to you, thank you for your hard work in this insane year, and I appreciate it more than you probably know. For those of you who have a barely passing grade or are currently at an F but you've been working your tail off, that has not gone unnoticed. I appreciate you so much. But unfortunately, we are down to the wire. If you are very close to passing, then definitely make sure that you get your Good Lady Duquesne questions in. Those are due today. Really, they were due last night at midnight. Get your final project done and turned in early. So if you don't get the grade you want, you have time to revise it. And then finally, make sure you schedule a time to come do the final exam with me so I can get a study guide. My goodness, get a study guide out to you. All right? We don't have time to waste at this point. You will be getting the rest of this week, including today, to go over the final project that we are going to be doing for the Gothic unit and the last final project you're going to be working on all year. You're going to get today all week. Now, let's talk about today. We do have various elements that we are working with. This is a 60-point quiz grade and a 40-point writing grade. This is then worth 100 points total, which should be enough for a lot of you to get back into the passing zone, but I would not bank on it, especially if you don't typically get 100% on things. For my honor students who are also watching this video, you're going to get the same grading scale and the same final project, but the standards at which you are expected to achieve are, of course, a little bit higher. There are going to be a few different options for you. The first being an art project. For those of you who are Supernatural or D&D fans, you might be familiar with the Monsters Manual or the Monster Manual or a book of demonology or something along these lines, because these things typically have a picture or a couple of pictures about a particular supernatural being, and then descriptions of them that help the person hunting that supernatural being have an edge. There are 2 requirements. You have to do 4 monsters, and 2 of those monsters have been selected for you. One has to be a vampire based on your influencing Good Lady Duquesne, because she is a vampire, just a scientific and medical style vampire instead of a supernatural one. And if you were one of my classes that did read Mark of the Beast, you were to use that to influence your werewolf. If you did not read Mark of the Beast, I would still like you to do a werewolf, but it does not have to be influenced by it. Of course, there will be a written portion, but in the handout you are receiving today, it will specify exactly what I want in that written portion, in those descriptions. You are also going to be receiving various examples of work that are, would be good examples for this art project as well as the others. Please make sure that you are using the checklist provided. If you use that checklist, You are guaranteed at least most credit. Obviously, if the work isn't good, but it's still there, you're not going to get 100%. You're going to be looking at the C range because you met the standard, but you didn't go beyond it. So just be aware of that. The other project that you might be able to do is a short story. This is just a 4-page Gothic story of your own creation. There are various Gothic elements that you are required to incorporate. There, you are given a list of 6. You must choose 2. There are monsters, the supernatural, protagonists with a lot of baggage, curses, and castles are another one, and I believe there is one more that I just can't quite remember. But as long as you have those in 2 of those in your story, you're good. You are also provided with a checklist for this, and you will be doing an additional half page to 1 full page writing that kind of goes through the creative process, why you made the decisions you did, so on and so forth, as well as a few things of what stood out to you the most that you learned over the course of this unit. You could do a short film. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do acting. It could be a claymation or a stop-motion short film that is 5 to 10 minutes long. Basically just a video version of the short story. Now, with that video, you are required to have a minimum of a 1.5-page script. So nothing too terribly long, just because I think silence speaks volumes in horror and Gothic movies. So something to consider if that's up your alley. However, I will warn you, I believe that is probably the most difficult of all of these assignments. The next option that you have is you could write a children's book. This is one of the longest assignments that you're going to have. However, the quality of work is a little bit lowered because of that. With a children's book, effectively what you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing a Scooby-Doo-esque short story for children. There's obviously not going to be a ton of writing involved because children's books don't have a lot of writing. I just ask that 3/4 of your 6 to 12 page children's book have writing on them. So your goal is to take a monster, so say a werewolf. You are going to boil that down to its base fear or anxiety and effectively use it as a vessel to teach kids that that monster's not so scary after all. Very Scooby-Doo-like, huh? There's also a checklist for that. You will also be doing a written response that goes through the creative process and all of these different levels of the Gothic. Finally, your other option is to make a restaurant menu. I've got a lot of cooks, a lot of bakers out there who are just really in love with creating food and using food as art, and we're going to use that as a vessel for the Gothic genre. Your monster that you're going to be working with is just the food itself. There are some specific outlines for what type of food you need to have. I believe it's 2 starters, 3 entrees, 2 desserts, and an optional drink. Now, this is established so you would then provide me with the name, ideally a creative name for the dish, and then tell me what that dish is made out of, just like you would see on a normal menu. However, we are kind of going to be going with like a fancy steakhouse style menu, so you only have those few limited options, but it can be any style of restaurant you want. I mean, if for some reason you had a buffalo chicken sandwich as one of the menu items, but it had a creative name, you would say breaded chicken tender with buffalo sauce, blue cheese on a pretzel bun. That sounds delicious. I might have one after work now. But your goal is to take these items and then create your actual final project from there. All right? Because you effectively have this very creative-based menu, and then you have to write about it. And that's really where most of the final project is coming in. But I think this is one of the more fun ones. You will be provided with an example of a menu just in general, kind of along the lines that I'm thinking. I will provide you with a writing sample that will probably come out in a couple days because I don't have the writing sample prepared, but you're encouraged to make a creative name for your restaurant and all of your dishes. So don't worry, you've got plenty of time to get this done, and I think this is really going to be beneficial for you as long as you get it done. The due date is this Friday at midnight. However, I will accept things up through Monday. I will not accept any late work at all after Tuesday. I would like to have all grades in, missing work included, by Wednesday. Obviously, if you are at the point where you very desperately need to take the final exam, or you are able to work out a special case with me, I am open to that. However, I would like you to be reaching out to me on your own. Should you need those accommodations, I'm happy to make them. Thank you. I'm sorry that this is kind of a downer video. I'm a little stern, a little high-strung at the moment, and that's just because I really care about you guys, and I want to make sure you are passing, but I feel like we're giving up, and I don't want that to happen. So let me know if you have any questions. You're going to see all this on Google Classroom. You're going to be able to download the rubric and the assignment sheet. Also keep an eye out for a scan of the senior all-night party information that will also be out today. I hope you have a good one, and I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye, everyone.